The Atlantic slave trade didn't just affect Africa, it created the entire African diaspora. Over 140 million people of African descent live outside Africa today, mostly in the Americas. These diaspora communities have made enormous contributions: civil rights movements, revolutionary music and art, political leadership, scientific innovation, cultural transformation. But the diaspora also carries trauma. The descendants of enslaved people still face systemic racism, economic inequality, and the intergenerational effects of slavery. In recent decades, there's been a growing movement of reconnection. Diaspora Africans visiting ancestral homelands, DNA testing revealing specific origins, cultural exchanges, the concept of the African diaspora as a transnational community. This reconnection is part of healing from the slave trade's legacy, but it can never fully repair what was broken. So what do we learn from this terrible history? What is the message we must carry forward? First, the Atlantic slave trade was not inevitable. It was not natural. It was not the result of African inferiority or European superiority. It was a series of choices made by individuals and institutions over 400 years. Choices motivated by profit. Choices that treated human beings as commodities. Choices that required elaborate lies and self-deception to justify. Second, Africans never accepted slavery passively. This is crucial to remember. Every step of the way, from initial capture through the Middle Passage to plantation labor, Africans resisted. They fought back during raids. They rebelled on ships. They escaped from plantations. They preserved their cultures and passed them down through generations. They built new societies in the Americas. They organized abolition movements. The story of the Atlantic slave trade is not just a story of victimization. It's a story of resistance, resilience, and survival against impossible odds. Third, the consequences are still with us. This isn't ancient history. The Atlantic slave trade ended just over 150 years ago. That's 2 or 3 human lifetimes. The racial ideologies created to justify slavery still poison societies. The economic patterns established by slavery still shape global inequality. The trauma experienced by enslaved people still affects their descendants. The demographic catastrophe in Africa still impacts development.